To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. So today I thought I'd do a little this or that video. Folks seem to really like it, so I can talk about different things, and the video really does well as far as watch time. People watch it all the way through, so I'm going to do more of these as much as I can. It's easier to make video ideas because I'll have little ideas. Oh, I want to talk about this and I won't talk about that, but it's not long enough to really make a video, but then I can put them all together and it makes a full-length video. So today I checked the wood stove again. The wood stove had a problem last year. We bought it used. The guy said he only used it twice, and I could really believe that. It didn't even look like it was stained. It was very clean. He didn't like it. He had it in his garage, and he wanted a bigger one. The garage wasn't insulated. He said this wasn't able to keep up with it. Well, we got it home. We set it up, and of course, you know, I'm building a house, so I didn't really spend a lot of time focused on the stove. Once I got it installed, I was happy with it. Well, then we moved into the house in January, and of course, you know, let's just get it started. And I really didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out if this thing was working properly. Well, it wasn't long before I realized it wasn't working properly. It was burning wood pretty quickly. Now, the reason it was burning wood is there was air getting in between the door and the stove itself. And so what it is there's a little seal here. A little gasket is what they call it. All the way around the door. And there's different gaskets just everywhere. There's a gasket inside the stove. There's this little ash thing that you can pick up and sweep your ashes. There's a gasket around that. There's also a gasket you can probably see right there in between the window and the door frame. About, I don't know, February, when it was really cold, I realized that he did not put the door handle on correctly. It was very loose. You could almost bounce the door a little bit. And then I tightened that up after the fire season was over, because there was just no way I could work on it with the door, with the fire in it. So, I mean, we just burned more wood. So, I don't know, maybe April I sealed it up. But here's the test to see if the seal is working. You take a dollar bill and you put it in between the door and the stove. And then you give it a tug. And if you can't pull it out, then it's in good shape. So, I figured once I had tightened the doorknob, everything was fine. Well, I just had this gut feeling I better check it again before I start this stove up. Probably next month we'll have started up. And so I came around all the little, just, you know, every few inches I would come around, and I got to this corner right here, and I was able to pull the dollar out. So that's a bad seal. That means air can get in there. Now, one of the things I'd always thought was, I think there should be a seal right along here also. So you got to seal the door. That way the two seals come together. But I thought, you know what, maybe I'll replace the seal on the door first, see if that works, and then I'll replace the seal here if I need to. So a local hardware store carries the seals. They got rope seal, and then they got this little tape seal. It's like, it's just I'm not going to open it, but it's just very flat. It looks like tape, but it's the same material as this. I guess it's a fiberglass material. I'm not really sure what it's made out of. So I figured I'd put the tape material here if the rope doesn't work. I think I bought it larger than I needed to. I bought a 1/2 inch. They had 3/8. I bought a 1/2 inch. So if it's bigger, then that's fine. I mean, I'll really have to shove it to get it closed, but I'd rather have a tight seal. So this shouldn't be too hard. I should be able to just peel this off, I think. Yep, it just comes right out, just like that. It's a very thick piece of material. I hope I got the right size. If not, I might be putting that one back in. And then it comes with a bottle of glue also. Okay, so I put the rope that I bought into it, and I could clearly see that it was not thick enough. So I bought the largest one they had at the store, and it still wasn't thick enough. So I'm going to reuse the one they got and put it back in there. I'm just going to put that tape along here like I originally planned. That should give us enough sealing surface. Okay, so I just reseated that original rope, put it back in there. The thing is it's kind of stretchy. So if you stretch it out too much, it makes it thinner. And what I noticed was it might have been stretched out too much. So I kind of bunched it back up. I think that might work. I'm still going to put the other piece on there that I bought, just in case. Can't pull that dollar bill out there either. Okay, so I went ahead and put that thin tape rope. Now I got it out of the bag, I can show you. It's just a real thin stuff compared to the real thick stuff. And so I just laid that up against there. And one glue tube, each bag came with a tube, but one glue tube did both sides. So I'm going to let that dry. You're supposed to close it up and let it dry for 2 hours. Okay, so Carolyn said she thought that was going to work. So Carolyn never gives a confident answer. She'll either say, I guess, or yeah, maybe. So this time I said, do you think that'll work? She said, yep. So it's going to work. All right. Something I've never talked about is sharp tools. One of the things I like to have around is knives. Knives are very important, and I keep them very sharp. Now, I'm not a manly man or anything. You know, I don't have Rambo knives or anything special. I just like having knives. I had a whole bunch of knives. I mean, just tons of knives, a bunch of Swiss Armies, and just everything you can imagine in the camper. Well, when the camper fire happened, they, of course, all went up with everything else. So I haven't taken a lot of time to replace all my knives. My dad gave me this one a few years ago. Don't know what it is. It's been a great knife. Keeps a sharp blade. I use it for everything. I can take a hammer and I can hit it. So I always have one of these little knives. Now I don't carry it on me, but I always have it around. It's always at my desk. I try not to carry a lot of stuff on me. It's just everything gets in the way. Nice little leather sheath. Just a hunting knife, I guess is what you would call it. Now, something that I have recently got is a little hatchet. Again, nothing fancy. I just wanted something where the review said it always stayed sharp. And the two things I'm going to use this for is to dispatch of chickens. I tried to use my knife and it worked okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, none of the chickens suffered, but the thing you would have to do is you'd have to hold the chicken on the chopping block and then take put it on its neck without cutting it and making it all stressed, and then all of a sudden with one good whack hit it with a hammer. And it's just a lot of things going on. So with the hatchet, you don't have to have two hands. You can hold the chicken with one hand and hold the hatchet with the other, and it worked a lot better. The other reason is that I can make kindling now out of the wood, and I've made a ton of it already. Now, my favorite is Swiss Army knife. Now, I know that the men out there are going to say, no, you need a Leatherman. And I don't wear belts. I've always carried a Swiss Army knife. I'm a MacGyver fan from the 80s. I don't know about the new MacGyver, but the old MacGyver, he always had a Swiss Army knife. Dean Anderson has actually claimed on video that he has many of the Swiss Army knives that he took from the show. This particular one I like the most. I've actually owned two of these, and I lost them both in the fire. This one, it's a translucent one, which is very odd for Swiss Army. The thing I like is if you're going to get a Swiss Army, make sure you get the Phillips screwdriver that comes out the top there. A lot of them, they come out of the back, and so when you're trying to screw something down, you're doing this, and it just doesn't work. Whereas if you use it like a regular screwdriver, it works much better. And it's a really good screwdriver. Now, like I said, I lost them all, and I didn't get any until just today. I finally ordered one, broke down, it was $35. The thing about these is they keep just an amazing blade. They're hard to not get sharp. The one thing I do like is it's got these Swiss Army knives now have a eyeglass screwdriver, because you always need an eyeglass screwdriver when you're my age. Got a toothpick and some tweezers. I don't know if the tweezers are the greatest thing in the world. The toothpick, it's okay. This is great. It's got a little screwdriver on it, but this, you can open up little vegetable cans, and I've used this quite a bit. I used to not have a can opener. I always use this exclusively. And then, of course, you got just a regular flathead screwdriver. Again, make sure that it's on the edge. Swiss Army usually puts the flathead on the top. Swiss Army usually puts it on the top. Now, the reason I like this one the most is got a little flashlight. This flashlight's great. A couple problems with it. One, I put a piece of tape over it. I will, because in your pocket it will turn on by itself. Two is the battery is hard to replace. At least it was 20 years ago. Now with Amazon, I bet the battery's easier to find. I can just order it on Amazon. but I highly recommend Swiss Army. Now, I know everybody's going to say you got to have a sandstone or this stone or some stone to sharpen knives with. When I discovered this 20 years ago, it was the best discovery I ever made. It keeps everything sharp. It's just so easy to use. Of course, if I had a flat surface, I could show you, but you just rake that across, and it just, within a few swipes, I can shave hair with it. I don't know if you can see that. If that little thing with just a few swipes can shave hair or easily just cut paper, that's the kind of sharp I want. And I don't have to sit there and try to be a master knife sharpener with this. It's just so easy. Okay, so I'm out here at the wood pile again, my favorite place to be. When you are cutting and splitting firewood, you get tons and tons of sawdust and scrap pieces and bark and just all this. This stuff is amazing. If you put it in a compost pile, it will compost and turn into dirt. Carolyn has bags of it like this, just full of this stuff. And it makes great bedding for the chickens. So hang on to this stuff. You can use it for your driveway. If you spill oil on the driveway, you can put this up, it'll soak it up. My grandma used to say, waste not, want not. Meaning if you're not wasting it, you don't want it. So, and then the other scraps like this, you're gonna wanna keep around to start your fires with. This will be a really easy fire starter. So I hope I can inspire you to be ready for the next season when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.